Thank you so much for stopping by with Love Mom on today. Today we have a quick, easy meal, which is a quick alternative to spaghetti and meat sauce. Something that you can do very easily, very quickly, and it's absolutely tasty. So just stay tuned and let's see what's cooking in the kitchen. Okay guys, so this is one of our new videos that's going to be a little different from the others because I'm limited on household items right now because I'm doing so much packing. However, we're just going to do a spin on spaghetti and meat sauce. So instead of using pasta, we're going to use some tricolored quinoa. Quinoa is a whole, if you wonder, let me see if you can see it, hopefully. There you go. If you wonder what quinoa, excuse me, is, quinoa is a whole grain, and it's a sprouted grain, so therefore it can substitute for rice and potatoes and things like that. If you want none of the carbs but still want the filling, this is great for you, and it doesn't have very many calories. So what we're going to do is, I've already got over on the stove 2 cups of chicken broth boiling. And you can use vegetable broth if you want to make it vegan or vegetarian. And you can also instead of using ground meat, which I'm using ground turkey, because you know my husband is a carnivore. So instead of using ground turkey, you can use tofu crumbles or something like that. And so what I'm doing now is I am cutting up an onion. We're going to use a whole entire onion to give it some good flavor. Okay, and so we're going to make us a nice little meat sauce. Now the last time I made a meat sauce, we roasted the tomatoes in the oven. But I'm going to show you a very quick, sorry, got to put that in the trash bowl, a very quick and easy way to do your meat sauce without having to wait for it to roast. And it's still going to be just as tasty. You can roast them. Roasting is really good. It gives a good flavor. But if you don't have time to let your tomatoes roast, you can do it a different way. Since I'm just feeding me and the hubby, I am not using as many tomatoes as I normally would use. Okay, so now that is our onion. And we're going to put that onion in a bowl. And you can use bell pepper, red bell pepper, green bell pepper, any bell pepper you like. But today, instead of using bell pepper, I'm going to use some roasted red pepper from the jar because I'm kind of pressed for time. So now, again, for me, this is just my preference. Roma tomatoes make the best sauce because, of course, they have a lot of flavor. So I'm just going to take 4 Roma tomatoes and I'm just going to cut them. And if you're like me, you cut the ends because you're crazy. Anyway, so I'm just going to cut them into cubes. They don't have to be fancy. And put them in the same bowl with the onions. Okay? And like I said, this is going to be very quick, very easy, guys. And you're going to absolutely love it. Okay? Now, normally I would have mushrooms and all that other kind of stuff to put in with it. However, like I said, we are in the midst of packing and moving, so the refrigerator is looking kind of thin because we're trying to use up everything in the refrigerator so we don't have to carry so much food with us. Okay, so now that we've cut up our tomatoes and our onions, now I'm going to cut a couple of fresh herbs. Alrighty, I almost forgot about our garlic. So we're going to cut up some fresh herbs, just about a tablespoon. And what I have here is a mixture of rosemary, thyme, and I have 1 little small sage leaf. And then of course we're going to use some dried oregano. We can use fresh oregano, but I'm going to use dried oregano today. And I'm going to cut all that up together and kind of push that over to the side. And then we're going to use, Lord, I didn't mean to pull out that much. We're going to use 2 cloves of garlic. Now, normally I would smash this up to chop it, but again, pack it. So a lot of things are not available right now because they've been packed up. So I'm going to, and I don't have my big knife out right now. So I'm just going to chop up 2 cloves. And That's going to be heavenly. And then we're going to, I can do the same thing with the small one that I can do with the big one sometimes. Okay, and so our herbs and our garlic are ready. So now we're going to go over to the stove where we're going to add our quinoa to the water and add our garlic and herbs and stuff and make our meat sauce. Alrighty, so now as you can see, I already have my water boiling. Now what I did was, actually broth. I used some chicken broth, and in the chicken broth I put a little salt, a little sea salt and pepper, some garlic powder, and a little bit of dried onion so that we can give that broth some flavor. Now quinoa is a lot like rice in the fact of how you cook it, 2 to 1. So we got 4 cups of liquid boiling here, broth boiling here. So what we're going to do is add 2 cups of quinoa to the boiling water, boiling broth. So that's 1 cup. And here is 2 cups. And the good thing about quinoa is you can, you would think it was kind of expensive because it's a whole grain, you know, like barley and that kind of stuff. However, quinoa, you can actually get it at a pretty reasonable price, especially at Costco. I got a huge bag at Costco, a big 4.5 pound bag for, I think it was more like $5 or $6. Alright, so now you're going to bring that to a boil, and then we're going to put a top on it and cut it down and let it simmer. Alright. Now in this pan we've already put some cooking spray. And we're going to get started on our sauce. So I'm putting in my chopped garlic. And as you can see, I'm going to go ahead and put my herbs in as well into that. And then we're going to saute the garlic and the herbs first. Forgive me. I should have been a little better prepared. So we're going to saute the garlic and the herbs first. You're going to cut your heat down to medium high and or medium, because you know garlic will cook pretty fast, but you don't want it to be burnt. Okay, so now we've cut that down. We're going to go ahead and add our onions and tomatoes because it started to cook really fast. Alright, and we're going to saute the onions and tomatoes together. Alrighty. Now, as that's sauteing, I know you're wondering, okay, now how are we going to get the tomatoes to soften up quickly? And our quinoa is boiling over there, so let me put that down. Okay, so you're wondering how we're going to get those tomatoes to soften up quickly. What you're going to do is after you get your onions sauteed to be a little translucent like you like them, you're going to add about 1/4 cup of water to it, and then 1.5 teaspoons of apple cider vinegar. And that's going to bring out the flavor of those tomatoes and break it down really, really well. So we're going to let that cook a little bit. Tomatoes are starting to soften up really well, and our onions are translucent. What we're going to do is we're going to move it to the side because we're cooking everything in the pan together, and we're going to add our meat. And what I'm using is ground turkey. There we go. Normally I would season the meat first, but today I'm doing it a little different to show you just a different way that you can get it seasoned and make it still quick and easy. So we added our meat in, and we're going ahead and we are starting to brown it with the onions and the tomatoes and everything. And see how it's going in there really well. It's just going to take it a couple of minutes to start browning. And some people will tell you, no, brown your meat first and then add everything. You don't always have to do that. You can actually cook some stuff in one pan and it's not going to hurt anything. And so we're letting that cook a little. And cut your fire up just a tad because now you have the meat incorporated in. Okay. While that's starting to cook, we're going to add some salt. I'm going to use a couple of pinches, about a teaspoon and a half of salt. We're going to use some, instead of using white pepper today, I'm going to use some regular peppercorns, you know, some ground pepper. So regular peppercorns. So I'm just going to couple of twists of the pepper in there, and this is the tricolored peppercorns, which is really good. I don't know what it is about those tricolors, but it tastes really well. Okay, and so now we're going to add a little bit of the chopped dried onions, just a couple of sprinkles. As you can see, I shop a lot at not just Trader Joe's but Costco as well. A little bit of garlic powder, teaspoon or so, and you see how it's starting to bubble and boil, and what that's doing is not only is the meat cooking, but it's also softening up your tomatoes to make it into sauce. Okay, so we're just gonna smash that around more. Okay, we're gonna put in a couple of pinches of dried oregano. Alright, so now we're adding 2 teaspoons of dried oregano and 1 can of tomato sauce. And then we're going to add that around. That is cooking really, really, really beautifully. Okay, so look how pretty that sauce is. And of course, like I said, normally we'd have some bell peppers and all that in here, but today we're limited because of the move, but it's okay. So 1 can of tomato sauce, and to give this a little bit of a kick, you're going to add 2 tablespoons of barbecue sauce. Just give it a little bit of a bite. Then what we're going to do is we're going to turn down the fire to medium low. We're going to cover this and let it simmer a little while we're also letting our quinoa simmer. And the quinoa, you know it's done when the water, when the liquid boils down and all you see is the quinoa on top. So we're going to cover this up, let it simmer. Okay, so now we've been letting it simmer for roughly about 6 minutes. And now I'm going to add in some roasted red pepper. And you can find that in the jar, usually in a section where the pickles and things like that are. So I'm adding that in and stirring it in nice. And now we're going to let it simmer another 6 or 7 minutes. And then we'll just about done. Is just about done. I'm just going to take it and stir it a little bit. It smells really good. That chicken broth gives it a really good flavor. And what you don't understand is, yes, I made 4 cups of quinoa. Who can eat 4 cups of quinoa? Well, half of this I'm going to use for our meal for tonight, and the other half I'm going to use in a salad tomorrow, and I will show you a video on that. So you can actually, with quinoa, you can actually put it in Tupperware, put it in the refrigerator, and keep it because you can eat it cold or hot. So now we're going to put that back on and let it finish simmering. Usually about 10 to 12 minutes simmering does the trick. So now we're going to plate up our meal. We're going to take a scoop of quinoa and put it onto the plate. Look at that. Looks delicious. Smells heavenly right now. Okay, we're going to take some quinoa, put it on the plate. Sauce. And ladle on top. Absolutely delicious. Cheese, and this is a mixture of Gruyere and champagne cheddar. And we're just going to sprinkle it on top. There. Alright guys, so there we have it. We made us a wonderful meal with our quinoa substituting for our pasta and our spaghetti and meat sauce. And yes, quinoa is a good substitute for rice, potatoes, pasta, all of that. It can be eaten hot, it could be eaten cold. You could use it for breakfast and make it sweet, or you can have it for dinner or lunch or whatever and make it savory. And it's a lot less carbs. So what is quinoa? Quinoa is a whole grain. It's high in fiber and has some protein in it too. So it's actually really, really good for you. Give it a try. I promise you, you won't be disappointed. And we made our meat sauce from scratch, and we used ground turkey. We didn't use sausage. We didn't use pork. We didn't even use ground beef. If you want to make it vegan or vegetarian, you can substitute it for the tofu crumbles. You could use beans. You can actually, if you don't want to use the cheese, you can use nutritional yeast to make it completely vegan. You can use nutritional yeast to give you that cheesy flavor that you like. And you can also use vegetable broth to cook your quinoa in as opposed to chicken broth. And you can also just cook it in plain water that you season. There is so versatile and so many different things that you could do with it. So I hope you like this video, and I hope that you give this recipe a try. I thank you so much for watching. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you want to see what else we got going on. We got lots of videos uploaded already. We have more to come. So go ahead and hit that subscribe video. Give us a thumbs up if you liked it. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask them in the comment section. I have no problem answering questions. And if you know somebody that just might want some different recipes to try out, share this video or just share the whole channel with them. We got a lot. So thanks again for watching, guys, and taking the time out of your busy day to visit with little old me. I thank you. I love you, love you, love you. Have a beautiful evening. Enjoy your dinner and happy cooking.